Hello Algebra 1, here's the second video for this section 5.2, Solving Systems by Substitution. If you have your student journal, you need to turn it to page 141. Otherwise, you have a worksheet or you're on your iPad. These are going to get one step harder. We were lucky in our other problems that one of the equations was already solved for us. It either said x equals or y equals, and now we're going to have to do that step by ourselves. So before you begin, solve for x or y. So let's look at our two equations. Let's make it easy on ourselves, and let's pick an x or a y that would be really easy to get by itself. For example, I'm looking at this top equation, and if I want to get x by itself, all I have to do is take away the y. So now I have a new top equation. It still has an x, but the y is now on the other side, and it says 3 minus y. And now it looks like one of the problems we just did in the other video. Now we can go on to step 1 and substitute one equation into the other. So now our bottom equation says 2, but it doesn't have an x, it has a 3 minus y, plus 4y equals 8, and from here it's just like normal. We'll distribute 6 minus 2y plus 4y equals 8. Combine those terms and get 2y plus 6 equals 8. 2y equals 2, y equals 1. Halfway there, take that y equals 1 and plug it into the equation. It doesn't matter which one you use, the original first one, the original second one, or our new equation for x. And that one says x equals 3 minus y, but instead of y I'll replace it with a 1. So x equals 2. And we're finished. Let's look at number 11. It actually already is solved for y, but let's go ahead and do it anyway. I'm just going to take the top equation this time. It says y equals, so I could actually replace it in the second equation where it says y. 1/2 x plus 1 equals negative 1/2 x plus 9. Let's get x's together, so add 1/2 x. 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1. So 1/2 plus 1 equals 9. Subtract the 1 and you get 8. Halfway finished. Let's take that 8 and plug it in. Let's just use the top one again. It doesn't matter. Y equals 1/2 of x, but I'm not going to put x. I'll replace it with 8. 1/2 of 8 is 4, plus 1. Y is 5. And we're finished. Let's look at problem number 12. I can see that I don't have an x equals or a y equals. So before we begin, we'll have to solve for x or y by ourselves. So let's make it easy on us. And I'm looking at the second equation, and y is pretty close to be by itself. Oh my gosh, I can't say it. Let's subtract the 4x so we can get y isolated. We have negative y equals 4 minus 4x, and let's just remember to get rid of the negative, divide by negative 1. So we have negative 4 plus 4x. Now we have y equals, and now we're ready to begin our steps. Let's substitute that into the first equation. The first equation says 3x minus 2, but instead of y, we'll replace it, equals 3. Distribute 3x plus 8 minus 8x equals 3. Combine the terms. Negative 5x plus 8 equals 3. Subtract 8. We get negative 5. Divide, and x equals 1. And we're halfway there. So if x equals 1, let's find y. We have our original first equation, our original second equation, And then our new equation where it says y equals, I say let's just plug it into that. Y equals negative 4 plus 4x, but instead of x, let's replace it with 1. Negative 4 plus 4 equals 0. When I decide which equation to solve for x or y, I look at my variables and see if there's any that do not have a coefficient other than 1. So I see there's a 3, there's a 2, there's a 4. I would not try to solve any of those because you'll get fractions and make the problem much harder. When I looked at problem number 1, I saw that x had a coefficient of 1 and y also had a coefficient of 1, so either of those would have been okay to solve. And I think we'll just do one more. I'm going to skip down to number 17. So looking at these, I have 1y minus 5x minus 4x and then 1y. So either of these would be okay to get by itself. I'm just going to go ahead and use the bottom one. It doesn't matter. I'm going to add 4x. So y equals 2 plus 4x. Now we're ready to substitute. Take that and plug it into the top equation. Instead of y, let's write 2 plus 4x minus 5x equals negative 2. Combine the terms and get negative 1x. Subtract 2 and get negative 4. X equals 4. We're halfway finished. Let's take the 4 and plug it into the other problem. Y equals 2 plus 4x, but I don't want to write x. I'm going to replace it with 4. And that would be 2 plus 16, so y equals 18. I didn't mention this yet, but you can check your answer by plugging in the two numbers for x and y. So like for the top equation, y is 18 minus 5 times 4 equals negative 2. That is correct, because 18 minus 20 is negative 2. I can also plug it into the bottom equation, negative 4 times x, which is now 4, plus 18 should equal 2. Let's just make sure negative 16 plus 18 does equal 2, so that is correct. It should work in both equations if it's the correct answer. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do number 19, the word problem. An adult ticket, which let's just call the adult's x, to a museum costs $3 more than a children's ticket. Let's just call that y. So let's make an equation. The adult tickets cost what the children's tickets do, but 3 more than that. When 200 adult tickets and 100 children's tickets are sold, so we have 200 adult tickets and 100 children's tickets, the total revenue is $2,100. What is the cost of a children's ticket? So we are actually looking for y. You have choices. When you have word problems, I don't mind if you want to use your calculator and graph. I'm going to go ahead and use substitution just so you can see that one more time. Let's take y plus 3 and plug it into where the x is. So we have 200 times y plus 3 plus 100y equals 2,100. Distribute 200y plus 600 plus 100y equals 2,100. Combine 300y, subtract the 600, and what do we get? 1,500 divided by 300, and we get y equals 5. If y equals 5, we can plug that way back up here. So x equals 5 plus 3, so x equals 8. So the question is, what is the cost of a children's ticket? We actually found it back here with y. A children's ticket costs $5, which means the adults cost $8. And that's the end. You can stop now and you can do your assignment.